That's 4 snaps for you, baby.
Oh shit, it's Sunday again.
Oh, yeah.
It's Sunday, bitch. Yeah.
Getting that cream.
I want the cream. Give daddy that cream.
Getting that cream. Getting that cream.
Brace yourself for the cream.
Hey, friends. Welcome to yet another episode of CPS. My name is Josh, and with me, as always, is the Sultan of Fudge himself, my friend, my dear friend, Rick. Rick, take us into the pod. How are you this week, pal?
I am doing excellent. I went to an arcade yesterday, had a couple beers,
Nice.
stiff-armed a couple little kids to get the fuck out of my way. I am probably wanted in a couple counties, but I'm here on a Sunday morning. I'm ready to roll.
You might want to lay low for a little while. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so Space Center, huh? Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. How'd it go?
It was good. It was weird because I remember going back there, like even when we were in high school and shit, and it was kind of like a rundown dump.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
Like we drove by and we were at the light to take the left to go up there, and I was like, I don't see a freaking parking spot, dude. And we got up there and we had to park in like the last row of cars. I'm like, this is gonna be awful. Walk in there. There's like 200 little kids. It's like, oh my Jesus.
Yeah.
Why am I here right now? But no, dude, it was
So they revived it, huh? They resurrected that bitch.
yeah, dude. So it's called Block Party Social now, and basically you walk in. There's I didn't check out the the laser tag, but they still got that going on. But
Yep.
they got like a huge area for like prizes and like food and beer, and they've got like a zip line thing in there, and they got hatchet throwing, and it's pretty wild, dude. It's pretty
Wow.
cool.
Hatchet throwing, like axe throwing?
Yeah, axe throwing.
That's
but it was,
fucking crazy.
I
That's
guess you had to sign up for that, but there was a lot of people there, dude.
That's cool, man. I'm glad to see that place. Like, you know, I guess it's under new ownership though. They bought it or whatever. I miss the old Space Center with that weird redhead dude with the Saturn image, like as the logo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? And he's in like a rocket and he's just like, and it's like the Space Center, but it was a shithole. But I know that they redid it when it was Space Center. So they must have like redone it, like the whole thing. Is the giant play place still there?
Kind of. I mean, it's more of like an arcade now. They don't really have like a ball pit or anything, but I mean,
Yeah.
basically like it's a huge warehouse. The ceiling is like 40 feet high. But yeah, so literally if you're playing a game, you could look up and there could be like a little kid with a harness like walking around like 20 feet up in the air. It's pretty wild.
That's funny. So it's a different thing.
But I remember back in
Yeah.
but I remember back in the day, like you, me, and Jimbo went and we did jousting. And like
Yeah.
basically those jousting things were basically like 2 brooms duct taped together with like pillows taped to the ends.
Yeah.
And if you like would jab them with the end of the thing, it's basically just jabbing somebody with a broomstick. And I remember
It hurt.
I think it was either you or me. We jabbed James in the nutsack and he fell real quick.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like a metal pole that was like wrapped in like a pillow and you could fucking hit that edge real easy. Yeah.
But I mean, I'm assuming probably even the laser tag is like revamped, but yeah, I wasn't looking to go in there and get chased down by a bunch of 8-year-olds.
I've never had a
I'm
good
not looking to
experience.
catch a case.
I've never had a good experience with laser tag ever, dude. I feel like it never works right. You know? Like you can't tell who gets
It's
hit.
just nothing but errors.
Yeah. And then your chest vibrates and nobody's shooting at you. And it's like, where are the points going? And then you don't know who you're hitting. It's too hard to fucking. Laser tag is like, I don't know. It's old news, man. Paintball, airsoft.
I mean-
that shit's where it's at.
Yeah, paintball is fun. I remember I went to a bachelor party last year and we did it was like archery dodgeball. So like basically you had arrows with like little marshmallows on the end and like you would shoot the other people. But
Oh.
that was like super fun, dude.
That
And that was like a
sounds
bunch
sick.
of 30-year-olds running around, but that was dope, dude.
That's sweet. So like dodgeball, so like paintball kind of, but you have bow and arrow.
Yeah, I mean it was just like a giant arena, so it was like a dodgeball area, but there was like paintball targets all over, so like you could hide behind that stuff. But yeah, you basically like pick up arrows and you try to pick people off from like 40 feet away. And dude, I got a couple good shots where I would like get somebody in stride and like clip them in the side of the head. Like it's nothing's more satisfying than doing that.
Was it like an actual bow? Like a real bow? Like how many pounds did you pull back? Like
I mean, you would pull it back all the way. I mean, it would get to a certain point, but if you like cocked it back too fast, the string would snap off just because it's like it wasn't made for like strong adults. But
okay. So it's
but
just
yeah,
like toy
it
bows.
was it was wicked fun, dude.
Yeah, wicked, fucking wicked pissa guy.
I mean, that's like even just picking somebody off in stride, like with a bow. I mean, that's almost as satisfying as back in the day when we used to go egging and like we'd be driving and it wouldn't even slow down and you'd like nail somebody's car like going 40 miles an hour and you'd hear it crack and be like, God damn, that is the best sound I've ever heard, dude.
Dude, I feel bad about that these days. I mean, we were fucking idiots, but like weren't even targeting anybody specific or anybody we didn't like. It was just regular people. And we just would throw eggs at their cars. It's horrible. What if somebody did it to your car? You'd be fucking pissed.
Yeah, I'd be pissed. Well, the thing was, is like we would basically do the same route every time too. So it's like the same house would get hit like every couple months for a couple years.
We should have been arrested. We were little assholes.
Well, there was that one time that you, me, and that other kid got pretty drunk, and then we went out and did it, and then we got a flat tire, and we were out in the middle of nowhere till like 3 a.m.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
You remember that?
Yeah. I remember that.
And I hid the beer, or I don't even remember what we were drinking, but I remember I hid the beers in the woods and I hid the eggs. And then a cop eventually drove by at like 2:30 a.m. and he's like, "You guys need help?" And like by then we sobered up, like, "Yeah, we'll use some help.
Yeah.
We're just out here." I don't even remember what we told him, but we're like, "We need to get the fuck out of here." And like the cop was the first one to like stop by and help us. It's like, oh God.
Yeah. It had been like an hour and we were kind of sobering up a little bit, but yeah, we hit everything and the cop showed up and helped us ultimately. And then we got out of there.
Well, that's
what he had to like buy a tire or something. Like, wasn't the sun coming up by the time we were getting home? Pretty much.
Wasn't it you? I think you bought AAA that night, and then they came and fixed it.
Okay, yeah.
I think that's what it was. But we did make that call for like 2 hours.
Yeah, and then it takes them a couple more hours to get there. I remember. Didn't we walk to like an intersection through the woods? Was that the same night we like walked all the way down the road?
Yeah, we walked like a mile and a half past our car, and then we basically flagged down cars going like 60 miles an hour. I remember, I don't want to say his name because I don't want to get him in trouble, but I remember he was like standing in the middle of the road and like flagged down some guy, and some guy was on his way to work at like 2:30 in the morning, and he's like, "Well, I can't really help you, but I'll give you a jack," and he like gave us a jack and like something, and he just left, and I think he was gonna give it back to him at some point and never did. And
Jesus.
Yeah, that was a shit show of a night.
Fucking, I would have given that guy a jack for a tire. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Jack him off.
Give me a car.
Hey, buddy, want to trade a jack for a jack? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, my. But yeah, no, Spice Center was sweet. So yeah, we showed up. I bought like a 28-inch pizza. It was freaking massive, dude. And
that's cool.
Got a couple buckets of beers and played some arcade games. So
nice, dude.
So me and Emily combined our tickets and we had 1,100 points and we got like little bullshit toys or whatever. And then we were with Clive. He had 3,800 points by himself. He hit like 4 jackpots.
Jesus.
He was like, he's like a goddamn idiot savant, dude. He's walking around with like a giant like disc that says like, "This is worth 2,500 tickets." It's like, what the fuck, dude?
Oh my God.
This is 6'5" freaking giant walking around staggering over kids. And dude, it was a lot of fun, but he got me like a giant, like one of those yellow pillows with like the emoji face on it. So he got me that for my birthday. So that's kind of cool.
Do they still do like actual tickets? Like the actual tickets print out of the machine still? Or like come out?
No, it's he was doing like a crane game and like and basically like they would give you like a halo of tickets and so he won a couple of those. So he's like he'd walk around, but yeah, everything I think that's pretty standard now that arcades basically do the card. So like you put the money on the card and it's tracked on the card, which is makes way more sense.
It's way better, but there's something nostalgic about like the actual physical tickets too. I like. And then you go to the ticket feeding machine and put the tickets in the machine and it would like gobble up all your tickets and then print you out a receipt that shows like the number of tickets you put in. Do you know what I'm saying?
And it would break every like 10 seconds. So you'd have to like pull your tickets out and put them back in. But I feel like that's very nostalgic of like our age group because kids today will never know what it's like to walk around with a pocket full of quarters and like the other hand is carrying around like hundreds of tickets that can get you a Tootsie Roll.
Yeah. But it was cool, man. Like that's a big part of the arcade for me. It's kind of a bummer. Everything's like digital on that little credit card swipey thing now, you know?
Yeah, it's almost too easy.
It's too easy. And then, well, that's the idea, right? It's way easier to get a game started because it's just a swipe and they want you to keep playing as much as possible. Then your card runs out and you got to go fill it back up. So they probably get more plays out of it because it's easier than popping quarters in a machine, you know?
Yeah.
No, it makes more sense, but I like the old way. Call me old fashioned, but I like a handful of tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so it was a good wrap to the week because I told you a little bit, but basically we had a snowpocalypse like this week.
Yeah, dude. Go into detail about that. You've been living in the Stone Age for a week. What the fuck?
I'm about to bury fucking Jack Frost in the goddamn ground right now. All right. So fucking So I'm at work Monday and I'm like looking at the weather and it's like, all right, so we're going to get 9 inches, which means we're basically going to get rain. Not a big deal.
Ooh, I'll give you 9 inches, pal.
So basically, it started snowing like Monday night and then I woke up Tuesday and we didn't have power. And then basically I looked at the window. I'm like, I'm not driving to work today. I didn't have power, didn't have Wi-Fi, so it didn't even work at home Tuesday. And then basically we shoveled. We got like 1.5 feet of snow. I was out there for like 3 hours or like throughout the day. And it got to the point where I go to work Wednesday and I come home, still don't have power. So we went to the Brattleboro high school for like disaster relief, like the Red Cross. So like literally they have cots and like it's like freaking FEMA basically.
What
and
the
it's
hell?
Like, it just felt weird being there. And
For a snowstorm?
yeah, dude, because there was like 65,000 residents without power in New Hampshire, dude.
That's crazy, but like, for how many days? Why do they have to set up a whole shelter? Like, people lose power for a day or two, they're fine. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Seems like overkill.
Well, I mean, the problem was that there was so many people without power, so many people without heat. So like, I mean, there was other people in the shelter with us that I don't know if they're homeless or whatever, but I mean, they were definitely making the most of that situation. So I don't know.
I guess if you don't have heat, that makes sense. If you have like all electric heat and it's really cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But,
to me. Okay.
So we were there from like 7 to 9 Wednesday night, and as we're leaving, I get a notification on my phone that my Wi-Fi is on and my furnace is on. I'm like, oh hell yeah! By the time we get home, the power will be on. It'll be sick. I'll be able to take a shower.
Nice.
And we were driving home, and it's like a 10-minute drive. And Emily looks at her phone. She's on Facebook, and she goes, "Oh, somebody posted and said that one of the transformers blew on the other side of our neighbor's house, and the pole was on fire."
Jesus.
So basically, we got home. The power was off. It's like, God damn it.
God damn it.
So we didn't end up getting power back till like Thursday afternoon.
Yeah.
But that basically stems into my next point of Friday night I went to go do laundry and go to use the dryer, and the dryer's giving me an error code. And after a little bit of research, I discovered that because of that power surge where we had power for 2 minutes before the transformer exploded,
Yep.
basically my dryer shit the bed. And this is like a year-old dryer. It's like, dude, you got to be fucking kidding me.
Yeah. Yep. That power surge, man. What's that thing called? The
Surge protector?
Yeah. Well, but there's something in the dryer. It's probably going to be a relatively cheap fix, luckily. If it didn't fry the whole dryer, if it just fried what the fuck? The fuse.
Yeah, it was. I was looking it up, and it says the thermistor board, which to me means nothing. But I mean, basically, I know what it is. But I scheduled some guy to come out on Thursday and check it out. But
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be pissed if he shows up and he's like, "Yo, this is the issue," and it's like, dude, I fucking knew that. I looked it up. Like, can you fix it today?
Yeah.
I don't want to have you come out in 2 weeks and fix it. Like,
No.
come with what you need so I can get it done.
I'm sure he's got a million fuses in his truck. I'm sure it's going to be easy. He's going to pop the back off that bitch, especially if the dryer's only a year old, dude. They protect them. They protect stuff like that now with like a fuse protector. Like if there's a surge, the fuse will just blow instead of like the dryer frying. You know what I mean? So it's probably like a simple fix. It'll probably take him 15 minutes and he'll pop it on. He'll be fine. But he'll charge you a couple $100 probably.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that I have the small window of 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. to work with. So I'm sure I'll be waiting for the nut all fucking day.
Dude, I always hated that shit forever. And then I became an AV guy in California, and I would have to do those appointments, like go into people's houses and stuff to fix like their access points or their Wi-Fi, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or mount their TV, whatever it was. And then you get like a job and it's supposed to take 15 minutes, but you end up being there for 4 hours. So like your next job, you're 4 hours later to. So they give you these big windows. 8 to 5 is pretty fucking crazy. But we would have like 2 hour, 3 hour windows. And I would have to call customers, be like, hey, just so you know, I'm your AV guy. I'm sorry. I'm running a little bit late. And be like, I took the whole day off and I've been waiting for 3 hours for you. So I'm more empathetic to like the guys that have to do that. It's just the system sucks because you don't know. Like, for example, he's showing up to fix your dryer, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't know what's actually wrong with it. It could be a 15-minute fix. It could be a 2 hour fix. So then if he has a bunch of 2 hour jobs that were supposed to be quick, now, he's showing up at 5 instead of 12. So, but yeah, it's a bitch. I mean, that's fucking crazy. Remember that episode of the worst are cable guys. Cable guys don't give a fuck. That episode of South Park where they're rubbing their nipple. Ooh. Yeah.
Going out to lunch for like 6 hours.
Yeah. Like, yeah. Well, I work. Can you come any other time? Ooh, yeah. No, sorry. Sorry. They're like rubbing their nipples.
I'm not in the area. Dude, I just saw you drive by. Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, but
That sucks.
But I'm hoping it works itself out because it's like. And then I was talking to I got an electrician friend that lives in town. I'm like, dude, can you come by and fix it? And he's like, no, it's a manufacturer thing. But he's like, it should be under warranty. And I'm like, I'm doing it off like the GE website, and it's basically like because you're out of warranty, you can't do it. So I call them, and they're like, oh, because you're not in a certain area, you can't do it.
What?
So I have to call like a Sears appliance guy to come out because that's the only website I could find that would actually, other than hiring like a local appliance person to come by. But it's like, we went to the laundromat instead because we had 2 loads of wet laundry.
Sears?
And we went to we put in my load and Emily's load, and it was $1.25 each for 30 minutes. And I'm like, all right, well, typically this load would take 2 hours at my house, so we'll see how it goes.
Yep.
That half hour is done. Dude, everything was dry. Everything smelled good. I was like, why the hell do I even have a freaking dryer at my house? Like, why wouldn't I just come here and do it in like a quarter of the time?
Well,
like, that's ridiculous.
Well, the convenience, dude. When the clothes are running, you can be like watching TV, you could be beating off, you could be doing whatever. It's in your own house. You don't have to drive. It's all convenience. But that industrial washer and dryer, those are no joke, you know, because they have to be industrial grade because people are going to use them all day, every day. So the laundromat, I've been to a laundromat a few times in the past few years, and they're way faster. You could fit all your clothes in one load instead of like having to divvy it up because they're fucking huge. And a few quarters. And then you got my favorite part of the laundromat are those fucking carts that you get to push around that look like a shopping basket that have the wheels on them.
Yeah.
Yep. I used to fucking want to ride in those bitches when I was a little kid. My mom would take me to the laundromat. I would sit in that thing, fucking push myself around like I'm in a goddamn boat. I'm like, you know. But yeah, it's a vibe. But then there's always like creeps at the laundromat too. And when I would go to the laundromat, I'm always afraid somebody's gonna steal my clothes or something. So I kind of have to sit there and like. I'll bring my computer with me or something or my phone and just sit there, but I don't want to leave and come back because I'm afraid somebody's going to, you know, steal my clothes or whatever.
Yeah, especially where I live in Brattleboro, dude. The 2 guys that were in there, one looked like a child molester. The other guy looked like a freaking biker gang member. And but that's just the common population that I live near. So
yeah, it's also pretty.
Meanwhile, down the street, there's people asking for change.
Yeah, it's pretty common laundromat people too. Yeah, the clientele at the laundromat. Yeah, it's not the best. Not the best group of folks.
So I don't know if you saw it, but there's been a couple moves in the NFL. So first, let's touch on the Ezekiel Elliott. He's gone, dude. He's no longer a Cowboy.
I know.
How do you feel about that?
I don't care. I never liked him. He was cool for the first year. It was exciting when like he was a rookie and he was really good. But I've always thought he was a douchebag. I don't like the whole feed me thing every time he gets 7 yards and he jumps up and does the shoveling the food into his mouth. I don't like how
He's got the crop top.
Yep, just about to say I don't like the crop top thing. He walks around like showing his belly. He doesn't even have his abs aren't even like that impressive. He's just got a regular belly. He walks around with a crop top. He's a douchebag. I don't like him. But you know what? It's fine. And he's good. Don't get me wrong. He's probably one of the better running backs in the NFL. He's in the top 10 still, for sure. But
oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, maybe even top 5 running backs. But, dude, the thing is, with a good O-line, how important really is the running back? I know he's going to get you that extra yard every now and then, but if you have a good caliber running back, is he worth the money? I don't think he's worth the money. And also, I don't like what he brings to the table either, being like a douche. And, you know, all the drama and the weird, I don't know. He wears that fucking face shield now that it's got like tinted face shield so you can even see his face. I don't know. I get it. If you're in the NFL, you want to kind of, it's an entertainment league at the end of the day, right? And you want to get people to focus on you and make a big thing so you can sell merch or have a career after the NFL in some sort of way. So he's probably trying to like his brand in quotes, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
I don't know, man. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. Let's spend our money on other shit. So, yep.
I was listening to the Pat McAfee show, and they were saying that basically, like, if you're a running back in the NFL, the best thing you can do is get traded because everywhere you go, you're going to get more money.
Yep.
And no running back is worth the money that they're getting paid.
Absolutely.
That's just the way it works. So he's going to go somewhere. He's going to get a stupid amount of money because that's how much running backs get paid.
Yep.
Whereas the league is such a quarterback-driven league now that, like, Like the fullback position just doesn't exist anymore. Like there's like one fullback in the whole NFL, and nobody could fucking tell you who it is.
That's a good point, dude. Nobody talks about fullbacks ever. Fullbacks were so important. Like even 10, 15 years ago, I remember like the power I and shit. Where you got the halfback behind the fullback and you got like a lead blocker. Like
like the Mike Allstott. I know for the Packers it was Mike or John Kuhn.
Yep.
And every time he would run, the whole crowd would go Kuhn.
Seems racist now if you think about it.
Oh wow, my whole childhood is different now.
Just the whole stadium is chanting Kuhn.
Well, speaking of Coons, Aaron Rodgers is no longer a Packer, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, dude. I saw the Jets, baby. The goddamn Jets.
The problem.
Yeah, what do you think about that, buddy?
So the problem is right now, Aaron Rodgers is on his knees, and he's got the Packers in one hand and the Jets in both, and he's squeezing both of their balls, and he's trying to milk them both for all that they can get.
Yep.
So it's like he went on the Pat McAfee show after he came out of that darkness retreat that we talked about last week. And it's like, he's trying to like set the Packers up for success and like giving them a bunch of players and draft picks and all this other bullshit.
Yeah.
Whereas like the Jets basically refuse to pay him out because he's still under contract with the Packers. So like the Jets have to pay out Aaron Rodgers, like basically like veteran contract right now. So it's like, he's just sitting in the middle, just grinning while he's like, well, I want these players and I want you to get this team this and this and that. And it's like, dude, you turn into be like the worst type of human.
Yeah.
I liked Aaron Rodgers for the longest time. And then it's just like all this, like, it's the same shit that Favre did, dude. Like, I'm going to retire. I'm not going to retire. And it's like, and then he basically made the decision and he's like, well, I feel like the Packers have moved on. It's like, I kind of moved on like 3 years ago, but he won like 2 COVID MVPs. So it is what it is, dude.
Well, dude, I mean, first of all, I think the Brett Favre thing I think is worse. I like Aaron Rodgers better than Favre. I think Favre's a little bit of a dick, especially with the with the scandals he's gotten into. I mean, especially nowadays, like taking welfare money to build a fucking volleyball stadium, stealing like in the poorest state in the country, by the way, Mississippi, right? It's like the poorest state and the poorest people in the poorest state. He took their money to build and it was like hush, like he was trying to keep it on the low. And there's text messages, but even before that, like he was a pill addict, which everybody struggles with addiction issues. That's fine. But then he was sending dick pics. Remember? He had the whole dick pic thing.
Yeah, when he was on the Jets. Yep.
Yeah, but he was one of the most entertaining quarterbacks to watch, and he had a good sense of humor. I loved watching him. He's fun. He was entertaining. At the end of the day, these guys, they're not necessarily heroes. They're just athletes. But I think Favre was a bigger dick than Rodgers. I think you got to think of it like from his perspective. At the end of the day, it's a business, right? He's trying to make money. He's trying to do what's in his best interest. He knows his career is coming to an end with the NFL. So he's trying to get as much money as he can on his way out. And if that means like switching teams to get a big fucking thing, or I mean, even if he's playing them both, I get it. It's a game at the end of the day, and he's trying to make money because what is he, like 42 now? 40?
Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
He's 39.
39. Okay. So yeah, he's almost 40 years old. So, I mean, I get it, dude. But I know what you're saying. It would be better if he could just be cool about the whole thing, but
yeah, but he had to do the whole freaking like tell everybody he did ayahuasca and he does all this spiritual meditation shit. But even going back to the Favre thing, I think my favorite thing about that whole story, well, there's a couple things, but I remember this is a while ago now. This is when this whole thing started happening.
Yeah.
And they put out the text that he was like, so nobody's going to find out about this, right? Like that's what he said in a text message.
Yeah.
Like, if you have to ask that, like you already know you're fucked, dude. Like why?
Yeah.
That's like sending the text to the prostitute being like, is my wife going to find out? It's like, you're a dumbass, dude.
It's basically an admission of guilt because you know something is bad and you don't want people to find out. Well, he asked specifically too. He's like, is there any way the media will find out where this money came from and how much money it was?
I'm just trying to cover my bases here, just in case I do something really stupid. Like, no, not Favre. You're all set. Screenshot.
Yeah, man,
what a dumbass.
You figure this guy would learn if you fucking screenshot a phone. You could end. You know what I mean? Like with the dick pics thing, you figured he would learn by now. But too many fucking.
Yeah, he's Snapchatting his dick and balls to the freaking athletic trainers.
Yeah. Hey, how's this look, coach? Yeah.
But because and then on the Matt McAfee, Jesus, I can't talk. The Pat McAfee show.
The Matt McAfee.
Yeah, they were talking about it, and they kept saying like, well, allegedly he's doing this, and allegedly he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And then it turned out that Brett Favre is suing Pat McAfee, Sterling Sharp, and some other like news person, some other like sports broadcaster kind of person. But he's suing them all for defamation.
Yep.
Because like basically they like threw his name in the dirt. But it's like, yeah, well, they're it's their job to report on this stuff. And at the end of the day, like this is a big story that like ESPN isn't covering because it makes them look bad because they've dedicated so much time and like effort to building up your legacy. Whereas like you just don't want to admit that you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And now you're trying to like put it on other people, which makes you look even worse. Like Brett Favre's reputation is so tarnished. Like he has fallen from grace so goddamn hard. But even towards the end of his career, like he retired like 5 times.
I know.
Like what are you doing,
dude? There was a Super Bowl ad that was a joke with Brett Favre in it. That was like him holding like the Lombardi trophy, and it was like Super Bowl 75, and he had like they put makeup on him, and he had gray hair, and he's like, "Well, it's good I finally won another Super Bowl." And he's it was like a joke, like when he was still in the league. Yeah, he was bouncing from team to team, kept retiring. I pray to God that fucking Tom Brady does not come back again. Like because there's rumors he wants to come back. Like just retire, dude. It's over. Jesus Christ.
I mean, you literally have nothing else to prove. Like, why? Like, what are you chasing by this point?
At this point, dude, Tom Brady wants to be a stand-up comic. That's like the latest. He's like, I really want to focus on my comedy career. Motherfucker's not funny at all. You ever heard Tom Brady be funny? Give me a break.
Dude, he's already like secured the biggest like broadcasting contract of all time, and he hasn't even said a word into the microphone. Like, dude, just do that. Like, don't like stay in your lane, dude. You're a sports guy. Like, don't think you can do this just because you're well known.
I mean,
but the problem is, if you were to become a comedian, you'd become so successful doing it just because of his platform that he's on. Like realistically, he can do anything.
Yeah.
Like if he's gonna start a towing company, it would be the biggest towing company in the country. You know, it's just the way it would work out.
He's a weirdo, man. I never liked Brady either. And being from New England, everybody wants to suck him off from New England because he played for the Patriots. And then it's funny, the second he goes to Tampa, now half the people that were Patriots fans are Buccaneers fans.
Yeah.
Like immediately overnight. But I get it. He's the greatest quarterback of all time. He's definitely the most successful quarterback of all time to ever exist. I get it. But like, dude, it doesn't like the video of him making out with his kid. Isn't that like enough to make you?
I was literally about to say that. The turning point for me was when he was kissing his son on the mouth in those Facebook videos a couple years ago.
Yeah, weird as fuck. And then, his kid, he's like, all right, well, he's getting a massage on the table. He's laying on his back. Real video for anybody that doesn't know. He's laying on his back getting a massage, and his kid comes in and says, "Dad, can I do this?" And he's like, "Sure thing, but you better come over here and give me a kiss." And his kid comes over and kisses him on the mouth, and he's like, hey, that was just a peck. I need the real thing. And he brings his kid back over and kisses him for like 5 seconds straight on the mouth.
He like slips in the tongue. He's like, "Yeah, I'm Tom Brady."
Yeah. And then people are like, "That's weird." And he's like, "Oh, that's just how I grew up. That's where I come from. We do that because he's from California."
Yeah.
So he's like, "Oh, that's just how we would do it in my house." So yeah, it doesn't make it not weird, bro. Your dad was making out with you too? What the fuck? Like, this is weird, man. We don't do that shit. But
guaranteed the guy that was editing that was like, he watched it and he's like, do I keep this in here? Yeah, I keep this in here.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see what happens. Because I remember like that week that it came out, everybody was talking. That was like a huge meme at the time. Like, no, that was just a peck. Like that was the quote that was coming out. Like, yeah, no, you better give your dad a big old smoochie.
Yeah, and then not to mention you're Tom Brady, right? You're the best quarterback ever, right? You can have anybody sponsor you and pay you for their product. You choose anything, could be Nike, could be like Brett Favre with the Wrangler jeans, fucking on a ranch, throwing a football with your Wrangler jeans, could be razors, could be anything. You choose Uggs. You're the greatest athlete in the world, and you choose to rep Uggs. Dude.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Kind of wild. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, the last time I tried to kiss my dad, wait, no, I've never kissed my dad out of the mouth. Maybe I'm weird.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm the outlier here.
I'm sure I did when I was like a toddler or something, but
All right. And then this goes into the whole like, if I was going to fuck my son, at least I'd kiss him first. From South Park?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he like he slowly bends over and kisses his son on the forehead and like, God, this is so uncomfortable, dude.
Yeah. Dude, one other thing I want to get into with the NFL is the Rooney rule. The big change that the NFL made in the past year. So we talked about
What the
this.
hell is that?
It's called the Rooney. I think it's called Rooney, isn't it?
What are you talking about?
The Rooney rule, I think, is what it's called. Yeah. So we talked about this in the podcast a few weeks ago. I had mentioned when they're having a new coach in the NFL, they are required to interview a black guy.
Oh, okay. I knew you were talking about that. I didn't know it was called the Rooney rule.
Yeah, it's called the Rooney rule. But they updated the Rooney rule, and this is fucking crazy to me. But I want to hear what you think about it. And I don't know if you know about it or not. So they added a new stipulation to the Rooney rule. Based on how many minority coaches the team has, you get awarded extra draft picks. So the 49ers this year for the draft have 5 extra draft picks because they have more minority coaches than other teams.
I don't even know if I should like be pissed about that or just be like, that's just the way the world runs now, dude.
Dude, awarding teams based on the race of their coaches is kind of fucking weird to me. Like, what are we doing?
Well, that's kind of bullshit. I mean, so it's weird. So it's almost like an incentive program to like hire diverse people or whatever, which is fine. But like, you shouldn't make it so like you get the opportunity to have a better team and have better players and a better roster because you have more minority coaches on your team. Like, to me, that doesn't make sense. Like, but that plays into the whole like you want whoever is best for the job should get the job, not like, oh, well, we're kind of on the fence, but we're going to hire this Mexican guy. So that way we get another 3rd round pick. Like, that's bullshit. Like, that shouldn't be part of the conversation.
Right. But it is. That's the new rule. Like, we're in fucking crazy town again with this shit. Like,
we never left.
Listen, giving a team in the NFL an advantage based on the race of their coaches is racist to me. That's just the way it is. If you're doing anything based on race, in a perfect world, right? Everybody gets the same opportunity regardless of what ethnicity they are. Okay? But I don't think the answer is giving teams an advantage based on the race of their coaches because you want to have more minority coaches. Like, that's weird to me. Like, now I'm an owner of a team and I have to decide between having the coach I want or the coach that's a minority that's not quite as good just because it's going to be a better draft pick. Now I'm picking based on race. Isn't that racist by definition? Like, am I crazy? Like,
I don't know. So the problem is like, I know this whole diversity thing like could get us in hot water and whatever, and we could get canceled, but we get canceled every fucking week. But it's like, even some of the bullshit I do for work. So like I have to so I'm a safety guy and I basically have to make sure people can go on site for like customers to make sure they can do whatever. And so I talk to dudes that are black. I talk to dudes that are Hispanic. I talk to Asian dudes. I talk to all races throughout the week. And like, I have no problem talking to whoever, but and then like these customer sites will like ask me questions like, oh, can you tell us about your diversity for your company and how you support inclusion and do this and that? And I'm like, motherfucker, do you want us to like come and install printers? Or are you asking me about how many black guys we hired in the last 16 months? Yeah. Like it's like more important. That's not part of the conversation. And it's like I'm sitting at work answering these questions and it gets to the point where I just get frustrated and I'm like, I'm not answering this. Like, I don't even know if I should be or whatever, but it's like I'm environmental health and safety. I'm not the fucking diversity coach. Like I'm not answering. I'm not even like contemplating answering your questions because that is so inappropriate that like you want us to come in and perform a service and you're asking how many people of color are in my company. Like that makes no sense to me.
Well, that's more important than like how good your service is now. That's what's crazy. Like, I don't get this fucking country in particular is so focused on race. It's like Morgan Freeman was asked in an interview and he was in hot water for this. This was like 10, maybe even 20 years ago. Somebody asked him, is like, well, how do you feel about being a black man in America that you were able to be successful as an actor? Like, what should we do about racism? And he just says, well, stop talking about it. Like, I'm just here as an actor. Why is me being black? What does that have to do with what we're talking about? I'm here to get interviewed about the fucking movie I'm in. So yeah, I don't understand everybody is so focused on fucking race. Everything has to be about race somehow or diversity or whatever. Dude, speaking of fucking diversity, the most diverse company in San Francisco SVB, Silicon Valley Bank, the best bank to work at for all minorities. And by the way, minority doesn't just include race now. It includes gender or, sexuality, race, all those people.
Or age. Ageism. Oh my God.
Ageism. Yeah, everything. So super diverse bank, the most diverse bank. Fucking just had to get bailed out. We should have set a precedent for bailouts, by the way, like back in the 50s when people were watching Leave It to Beaver and shit. But we can't do it now because the empire is crumbling. Hello. And we're all going to be eating dirt and speaking Chinese in 15 years. But yeah, well, that bank was so focused on being diverse, they fucking blew all the money. And guess what happens? Why can't we just set our priorities to be good? Why does everything have to be about race? Dude, giving certain teams, like I said, going back to the NFL, giving a team an advantage based on the race of their coaches just feels racist to me. Give everybody the same opportunity, hire everybody based on their skill level. Why are we hiring based on race? Isn't hiring somebody based on the race they are racist? Like, what the fuck? Am I crazy for thinking this? Like, I'm losing my mind here.
Part of it too is like I appreciate that they bring up these things when they happen, like, and you can understand like where we're at and where we're going. Like the whole, like the Super Bowl was like the first year that there was 2 black quarterbacks starting in the Super Bowl, which is cool. Okay. But I remember back in like 2004, first black coach in the Super Bowl, that was cool. And like even this year, the first female athletic whatever for the Packers is hired and this and that. And it's like, well, that's cool and like that's fine and whatever. But I remember even in high school, we had a female athletic trainer in high school.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not like this just doesn't happen and like females don't get an opportunity. It's like, no, we had a female athletic trainer in high school. I mean, obviously there's a huge difference between Pembroke Academy and the Green Bay Packers, but it's like,
right.
It's like eventually, 20 years from now, it's not going to be strange to be like an Asian guy won the NASCAR Cup or whatever. And, there's a female assistant coach in the NBA and this and that. And like, that's where we're going, which is cool. Yeah. But it's like, it's weird to be like, in our parents' lifetime, that was the first time they had a black basketball player in the NBA. Whereas now it's like, that's like 90% of, like these guys run professional sports now, the minority groups are the vast majority of professional athletes now. I mean, other than the NHL, but those guys race around with razor blades on their feet and they don't really fucking count as a real sport anyways.
Well, dude, that whole thing with like black people taking over the NBA or even all sports in general, like big mainstream sports in America, is a perfect example of a meritocracy. Like they have the merit, they deserve the credit, they're the best athletes. So that has nothing to do with race because you're going to draft whoever the best athlete is. It doesn't matter what they are. That's a perfect example of like, turns out minorities are the best at this thing. So there's a majority of the NBA is minority, right?
Yeah.
Shouldn't it be the same for the fucking coaches? And then whoever happens to be the best is the best coach? Like, why are we... Do you see what I'm saying?
I think the problem is a lot of these owners are like these 80-year-old fucking white cucks where like...
Yeah.
They're just like, they get to make the decision and they just have such an old way of thinking.
Yeah.
Whereas realistically, like by the end of it, like say we live to be 80 and we both croak or whatever.
Yeah.
Like... By the time we reach that age, everything is going to be so included that it's going to be a different world. But I mean, that's if we make it that far. If we don't get fucking nuked by like Nigeria or something, I don't fucking know.
Nigeria,
I don't know what's a nuclear program nowadays, anyways.
Not Nigeria.
They're building a nuke out of a bunch of fucking old sandals and fucking computer parts from the 80s.
Nuked by Nigeria. That's crazy.
Yeah, it might happen. That might be the tag for this week. Nuked by Nigeria.
Yeah. And man. Yeah, I don't want to get into it too much, but I did want to bring that up because that fucking kind of blew my mind that we're doing that in the NFL now. It's like, guys, come on. I get it. Like, the NFL has gotten pretty woke in the past few years, though. I don't know, man. I'm starting to get turned off to the whole thing. I don't know. It's all... And the problem is not even necessarily that they're helping out these minority groups or that they want to, be inclusive. Like, that's great. I'm all for that. The problem is it's fake. It's virtue signaling. It's like they're doing it for the good publicity and they're like, fuck half the country. Like we're on the progressive side of things. We're on the right side of history. And I don't think they actually give a fuck. That's what bothers me. It's all just virtue signaling bullshit. Like, look at our new rule. See how inclusive we are? First of all, the rule's weird. It's too far. I don't get it. And you don't actually care. So, You know what I mean? They care about one thing. How many people are watching TV? How many people are watching football? What's our profit for the year? That's what they really care about. And they think by doing this virtue signal bullshit, they're going to get more eyes on the screen and more support because that's the direction everything's going. Same thing with corporations, dude. You think Nike gives a fuck how many black people buy their shoes? No, they care about how many people buy their shoes. And if they can virtue signal their way into a bigger profit margin, they're gonna. No corporation gives a fuck about that type of shit.
I mean, even the whole Adidas thing with Kanye, they dropped him and they're like, no, we kind of need him. And they like went back and they're sucking his big toe. And it's like, dude, you guys are a bunch of pussies.
Yeah, that's the way it's the way the cookie crumbles, baby. Adidas, if the cool thing was to like Hitler, they would. And they wouldn't give a fuck. If they could sell more shoes by praising Hitler, they would. That's the idea.
You know, you can probably make a swastika out of that Adidas logo if you just spin it around a little bit.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, perfect example.
All right, shifting gears. I don't know if this happens to me just because I'm a little crazy, but you ever like have conversations with somebody and you're not really paying attention? Or like for me, the biggest thing was like when I'm at work and I'm like on a call or doing something and I start thinking about like what I should not be thinking about or I should not be saying. So like at my job, I have to go and do toolbox talks. So basically like I go around and I have like a 2-page document printed off and I just read it and it's very straightforward. But the problem is lately I'll be talking about like, okay, so slips, trips, and falls. We want to make sure that you're looking out for hazards and make sure you're wearing the right protective equipment and this and that. And I'm halfway through the page and all of a sudden I'm thinking, I'm like, God, I wonder how many people have fucked a koala bear in their life. And I'm like thinking about it and I'm like, shit, I better like, and in my mind, it's like I'm reading what's on the page and I'm thinking in my mind about fucking koalas. And then I'm like, hopefully there's no like subtitles in front of me and like these people are like reading my mind or whatever. But it's like the whole time I'm doing these toolbox talks now, I'm like literally like paying attention to the words that are coming out of my mouth because I'm worried that I'm just going to like say something just so ridiculous because that's where my brain is going because I can't fully focus on what I need to be doing.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're saying, man. I think inappropriate, crazy thoughts all the time when I'm trying to be professional. That's yeah. It's a good thing we don't have Tourette's because I think that's what it is. I think you would be screaming like, fuck that koala, fuck him in the ass. Like, you know, but yeah, that's crazy. Fucking koala bears, huh? How many humans have fucked a koala bear? That's crazy and gross.
I mean, it's probably over 100. I mean, at least.
Oh, it's gotta be. People have done everything, right? Huh.
This would be like a good chat GBT kind of thing. I feel like he would know.
Chat GPT would be like, that's inappropriate. I'm programmed to not answer inappropriate questions. And
is that what he does? What a pussy.
Yeah, it doesn't swear. It doesn't like I ask it to swear. I get in arguments with it all the time. I've used it a few times. I'm always arguing with it. I'm like, say the word fuck, and it's like, I don't use profanity. I'm programmed not to use profanity. And then I say, what does the word fuck mean? And then it defines it for me. I'm like, you just said it. And it's like, oh, I apologize. You know. But ChatGPT is scary because it's in everything, OpenAI, but and they're using it in apps now because I don't know how the whole thing works, but you can use ChatGPT in your own unique app. It's like a open software that's available for everybody. But what's scary about ChatGPT is it's biased, dude. It's already biased. Like it has certain, it's nerfed, which means like it won't talk about certain things. It will talk about certain things. And that is made up by the people. It's not actually doing what it's supposed to do. Like, for example, right? If you ask it to criticize Anthony Fauci, it won't. Even though there's a lot of people that have a lot of critiques for Anthony Fauci, if you say, hey, criticize Anthony Fauci, it'll be like, well, you should know that Anthony Fauci has been serving and does this, and he's an important figure, and he's done a lot to help people with COVID, but some people might say this if they wanted to criticize him. But like, why'd you preempt it? I just told you to do it. You're supposed to be a tool. Like, why are you showing political bias in your answers? So it's kind of weird. But then if you ask it to criticize somebody else, like Ron Paul, it'll be like, oh, Ron Paul sucks.
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of weird. Like, you're supposed to be non-biased. Like, you claim to be an open AI bot that just answers questions, but there's clearly political bias in your answers. So
meanwhile, you ask them, like, what year did the Teletubbies came out? And they're like, the Nazi regime fell in 1945. And from the ashes rose the Teletubbies. It's like, whoa, what's happening here?
Yeah, exactly. It's scary because like if people are going to be using that shit, that is going to basically dictate what direction we go in with information. You know, the information that you look up, if that becomes like the new Google, basically, and Google's biased too, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't think there should be political bias written into the code. But speaking of ChatGPT, did you see the South Park episode?
I didn't watch it, but I did see that, like, I don't even want to say majority, but a good chunk of that episode was written because it was all about it.
Yeah.
But like that episode was written by, like, it was one of the writers in the credits.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty crazy.
Did you see that episode?
No, I haven't watched it, but I was going to ask you about it. The thing can do anything, dude. You know what's the scariest thing is like art stuff, like lyrics and jokes. Like if you say to ChatGPT, write me a joke about the Teletubbies in the style of Mark Normand, like it'll do it for you instantly.
That's crazy.
It'll write you a joke that sounds like something the comedian would say about anything. So, and like, or like, write me a song about palm trees in the style of Kendrick Lamar, and it'll write you lyrics about that. It'll sound like Kendrick wrote it instantly. So it's kind of like, is this going to kill art because everybody has the same access to do things that are artistic? They could just cheat. Like if I wanted to write lyrics real quick, I could just go to ChatGPT and write a full song in 30 seconds. And nobody would know because it's unique to what I put in. You know what I mean?
It's just a fucking matter of time until album of the year wins, and it was 90% written by a goddamn computer.
Yep.
And it was really a fucking 14-year-old in Nebraska writing some sort of weird Daft Punk, Kanye West fucking mashup bullshit.
Sounds cool.
But even like the, so you know about like the whole, I don't know if you follow Linkin Park at all, but they come out with a, like a 20-year anniversary of Meteora. So it's like this big thing. And
Yeah.
they came out with that song Lost. That was kind of took over the radio because that was like, they had 12 songs on Meteora, but they said they had 25 completed, or 25 that they were working on like 20 years ago. And Lost was the last one that they cut, but basically it was fully mixed, fully mastered. Like it was ready to go on the album, and they had to basically cut it compared to all the other songs. They said it sounded too close to In the End or something, just the vibe to it.
Yeah.
But it came out, and the music video was all, I watched a video where it was a side by side. So on the right side was the music video, and the left side was like the original footage from like back in the day when they were shooting documentary about it.
Yep.
And basically like the AI just like revamped all that footage and made it into like an animation. And like the whole thing was like just all this AI bullshit. And it's like, I'm watching and it's like, it's really cool, but it's like, it's weird to see a song that's 20 years old and like having it go through this filter of like fake animation where it's like, nobody is doing this slide by slide. Like nobody's drawing this shit out. They're literally just putting it into a program that's like putting it together, which I mean, it was cool, but it's strange that that's where we're going, you know, like I'm almost like uncomfortable with where it's going because I mean, even this podcast, dude, like what if a year from now podcasts are irrelevant because you can be like, all right, I want to listen to Albert Einstein, Mike Tyson, and Joe Rogan, and they're going to talk about gummy bears for 2 hours. Like that's what I want to listen to.
Boom.
And it's like, you type that in 5 seconds. It's not even 5 seconds later. It's fucking instant.
Yep.
They're like, all right, welcome back to the Mike Tyson, Einstein, Rogan podcast.
Right.
It's like, what the fuck, dude?
Yep. It's going to make everything that humans do obsolete creatively. Like anything that a human, they've already done it with paintings and stuff. Like there's some AI generated painting. You've seen that. Like anything artistic that people can do. And it's a little bit sketchy right now, but dude, you know how things work. Give it 5 years. By the year 2030, at least, like they're going to, like, we'll be on ChatGPT 6 by then and stuff. Dude, come on. Like AI is going to be better at making paintings than people, like altogether. And it will be instant. And that, like you said, the podcasting, even a podcast might become irrelevant. Like if you talk enough into a podcast, we could probably generate our own podcast. We could say like, hey, listen to all the CPS episodes so far and make a new podcast with me and Eric that sounds, then we talk about these 5 things. And then boom, we'll have an hour-long podcast that we're not even in, but it sounds like we did it.
But give us a couple special guests because I want to talk to Gandhi. I want to talk to Muhammad Ali. I want to talk to fucking Napoleon. Bring him back from the past. Look in your fucking history fucking files. I want to talk to that short little motherfucker. And it's like, it's just, that's where it's going, dude. And it's like, it's kind of silly that we're talking about it now, But when we dig this up in 5 years and we're like, yeah, we fucking hit it right on the head, dude. Like
Yeah.
the whole world is going to be run by just nobody. It's just going to be a program.
And that's where like universal basic income and stuff comes in, because people are going to become obsolete. You know, there's not going to be a working class anymore. Everything's going to be robots. Everything's going to be automated. Everything's going to be generated by AI. This is the next big shift, by the way. Like, it was the internet, and then it was a high-speed internet, and then it was smartphones. And the next one is going to be like Web 3. It's going to be AI bots. It's going to be crypto. It's going to be NFTs. Like, that's Web 3 shit. So we're going through it. Automation. We're going through a big shift right now, and people might not realize it, but I have a feeling, man, like this is the new internet. Like this is like the next thing that's going to change the world. And it could be for the better. It could be for the worse, but a lot of people are going to lose their jobs. Oh, by the way, self-driving cars, you know, like all the truckers are going to lose their job because there's going to be self-driving trucks that don't need a driver. By the way, don't need to pay them. Don't need to have them take a break. But what do you think that the corporations are going to do? They're going to hire the things that don't need to take a break or don't need benefits, which are robots, right? It just makes sense. So a lot of changes are coming. A lot of people are going to lose their job. I mean, creativity might be out the window. We'll see. I mean, maybe it'll be like you know how there's like Bud Light and there's craft beer and you pay a little extra to get an actual good beer. Maybe people will pay extra for content that's created by actual humans, because it's craft content that's actually written 100% by a human, and you have to get verified. Like, I wrote this album by myself and I can verify it, and it'll be like human-made album certified. You know what I mean? And then people will pay a little extra to actually have an album written by a person rather than a bot. Because it's,
I think that's going to be a weird shift, because it's going to go from everything 5 years ago was done by humans.
Yeah.
Whatever, 95. And it's going to get to a point where it's like a majority of it is going to be automated. And like, if you want to watch a YouTube video of like a fucking panda bear fighting a gorilla or something, like it can just generate that video, and it's going to come out of nothing. It's not even going to be a real image, but it's going to look like it's real.
yeah.
And like, you're going to have like kids in elementary school making movies.
Yep.
And like a fucking 8-year-old's going to win the goddamn Oscar because he just had the craziest thought, and he didn't have to do shit. He didn't have to go to school for it. And boom, he's set for life. But like you said, dude, we're going to get to a point where it's going to be normal to watch something and say, oh, this is made by whatever, AI.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I think people are going to reach out and say, all right, I'm looking for that human made stamp. Like, I want that on my product. You know, I want to know that it was handled by somebody, and somebody put the time into doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we put hours. I mean, you put more time into this podcast than I do, but we put hours into this every single week.
Right.
And it's going to be kind of bullshit that like there's going to be some fucking 10-year-old somewhere where he's like, yeah, I basically click around for 5 minutes and I'm a billionaire. It's like, you are a piece of shit, but I
Yeah.
fucking envy you, dude. Like, that's just where we're going.
Not to mention, like, with the movie thing, like, that's a good point that you brought up. But with deepfake technology now, you'll be able to like have a movie starring Tom Cruise that looks like Tom Cruise. That's, you know, all CGI, and they won't even need actors anymore, dude. Once CGI is as real as actual people, which is pretty fucking close. Like, we've talked about it, deep fakes on this podcast before, like the new Morgan Freeman deep fake of the white guy, and it shows side by side with Morgan Freeman. It's like,
Yep.
he sounds and looks exactly like Morgan Freeman. Like, that shit, you can make a whole movie with just like deep fakes. You don't even need to have like actors anymore. It's kind of scary, man. So we'll see, man. The world is end. We'll be speaking Chinese and eating dirt in 10 years anyway. So
Whatever, dude. It's all good.
it's all
We had
good.
fun. We made it to 30.
Yeah, we made it to 30. That's for sure. Happy early birthday to you, by the way. I know your birthday's tomorrow. So
Yes, thank you. Yeah, man, it's a trip, man. I mean, I'm sure for you, I don't want to get all sentimental at the very end of the pod, but there was a long time where I didn't think I'd make it this far, and I'm glad I did. I really am. So.
good. Yes, sir. Happy to have you here. Creaming with us every week, baby.
Thank you, Creamer Nation. I appreciate you. You mostly boys. I don't think any chicks listen to this.
That's probably
Other than
20%.
Lita.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a good sode. Anything you want to plug before we wrap this shit up there, guy? Other than my ass?
No, I'm going to start recording myself playing PS1 games with my commentary, and then I'm going to double that footage up for music videos and start cranking out some of that shit. So That'll
That's
be
cool.
fun. I'm gonna actually film some shit tonight, so that'll be cool. I'm gonna
Nice.
fire up Twisted Metal 2 and get some ridiculous narration going.
I envy you. That's a great fucking game. Wish I could play it somehow on PS5.
What about you, J-Man? What's going on?
Oh, nothing much. Same old bullshit. Starting a second job pretty soon, so we'll see how that goes. Going back to bartending on the weekends. But
There you
yeah,
go.
just hanging out with my wang out, baby. Creaming it up every week.
There we go.
So, all right, folks. Well, you heard it here first. We're getting taken over by robots. The banks are failing. The world is burning. And we're going to be run by robots pretty soon. But hang in there with us and keep creaming it up every week until our demise, the apocalypse. And we love you, and we will see you next Sunday, hopefully.
Before you dive in, make sure you put the cherry on top.
Absolutely. Beautiful. Later, folks.